I mean, let's just keep it going. This is how dumb people are. You know, the fact that as you look traditionally through history and everything, you look at the characters and stuff that we've had terrorism attacks for and we've gone to war against. You never pay attention closely. I mean, if you look, Osama bin Laden was Barack Obama, but if you watch during the time that Barack Obama was in office, they were having shows where it also painted him to look like Satan, the devil. And that's part of being in a car. You know, each person has three different characters they are. But you got him dropping the mic, boom, dropping the hammer like Thor, and all these other things, and his anger interpreter and all these other things, and then you have a person like me that's been head of state since age 13. And then, and it's always been out there. The fact that I can evil Knievel the fucking Gulf War into Vietnam due to the fact that I contracted malaria at the age of 12. Stateside, it lumped me up with a group of people at the CDC that are being treated with all the medication that you hear that Trump's talking about. Well, see, here's the problem. Social distancing. You keep hearing all these things about all these hospital workers. Yeah, well, no. They got a job at the hospital. They went to college for it. They knew what they were getting into. They knew what the job consisted of, long hours, and being around that stuff. The people that we really need to honor and salute and really support are the ones that are working at the cancer treatment places. Especially the ones that are working with children with leukemia and all these other diseases that these doctors and these nurses don't ever get paid for because cancer treatment is so outrageous. Trying to wrap up an end of war and try to do all these things. And, I want you to think about this. There's so many people that have left like Iran and Iraq to come here to work for like Lockheed Martin, for all these engineers. We've been at war so long with these countries. These people haven't even been home to see their family members. Just think what it would do for morale to be able to send people that work, that build our economy, that work for places like, and just like this, during all this, it always has to deal with the airlines. It always has to deal with something's going wrong with a big hostile takeover. Someone can build something better, but nobody builds anything as like Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is the number one company when it comes to building anything. And you have to understand that. But see, we get all these engineers and all these places coming from over here to work here because they wanted a better life for their family. But when they left their countries to come here to work to better themselves, a lot of these countries refuse to let them to come back. And I want you to think about that. I want you to sit here and think about that. That you have American citizens here that have been here a long time, became American citizens, and they've got dual citizenship. And here we are, we've been at war in the Middle East for so fucking long that they haven't even been home to be able to check on their family members. What do you think that does for the morale of people that came here? I mean, the fundamentals of coming to the United States of America for America was the fact that you have a chance to be free thinking and to be able to be different, to be able to take the values and parts of your culture that you want and be different. But then you get here and you realize real quick that it is such a corrupt system. It really is. And the fact that we're so many trillions of dollars in debt. If you, the average American citizen, are sitting at home and you are $1 trillion in debt in your checking account, would you be able to write checks, send stimulus checks out to people? Like, okay, a stimulus check, it's just like this. Okay, say you're sitting somewhere, a family member has a birthday and you wanted to go get them something again, you can't run your card, you can't send money, you can't do that. There's no money to do that to. So that funding and the money has to come from somewhere else. Where's it coming from? And now all of a sudden there's the COVID. We're having a problem with meat. No, they keep finding ways to slowly sit here and do this. Oh, it's going to be this. It's going to be this. Social distancing. Well, let me tell you this. A slaughterhouse is the nastiest place to fucking work. Killing anything is nasty. That's why we have USDA grade. But see, when you buy beef inside your state from local cattlemen, you don't have to have USDA. And it's actually a lot healthier. But see, you see this thing called Tyson. But Tyson's not meat. That's poultry. That's birds. And you know, for the longest time that we were sending chicken to fucking China. And it would sit there on the docks and then it would come back here. And it makes you wonder why. It really does. But you know what the world needs right now? We've been at war under a false narrative for so much. We've lost so many American lives, lost so many Middle Eastern lives, lost so many people at war that why is it so hard for people to understand that maybe across the board people are looking at each other and they're tired of fucking fighting a war and don't even understand why we're fighting a war against each other? You know, sometimes the best thing to do is turn and leave someplace and honor your dead. You know, look at all the veterans we've lost that have come back from war, from war and never had a place to fit in. You know, they either drank themselves to death, they committed suicide, just a lot of things. And that's due to wars based off of the root cause was corruption in law enforcement and drugs during a time that they wanted to hide something. The fact that $7.8 trillion came up missing the day before 9/11 and Halliburton ended up with it over somewhere else. We never go to war unless we owe somebody money or money's missing, and that's it. And I want you to understand something. We started attacking places due to characters set up. You know, there's so much stuff that was set up for me to be able to have that's not there anymore. Why? Because there's things, some people are born into it, some people don't understand due to security clearance and stuff. But you know, I can tell you right now, you know what the Middle East needs? More than anything, I would bet my life there's people in control that are looking that want to save their people just as much as people want to save our own people. Do you realize that? Do you realize that over a period of time, you get past this point of the elders in your family, and you get past that, and you actually get people in control that look that maybe it's time to have running water. Maybe it's time. See, here's the deal. Maybe it's time to have grass. Maybe it's time to have certain things. Maybe it's time to unmask your women, and maybe there's time to have structure where you can root out the evil in each of your own cultures. I mean, we're at that day and age where technology can't do that. Technology is based off of theories and algorithms and ways of thinking that are primitive and also one direction. But it takes a free thinking person to be able to look to say, hey, you know, we have all these palaces, we have all these things, but we have all these sick people and they're going in a direction. You know, if Americans would stop and just take a look and understand something, I guarantee you, you'd start dealing with a lot of Middle Eastern people that have money and wealth that would invest in American to be able to have, you know, you could take, here's the one thing that our military should and would want to do, veterans, is by the time you got home, you should want to drop your weapon and pick up a hammer and pick up other things and go back and be able to look at at the person that you've been in battle with, and you're coming back. Why? Because it just so happened while you were there and you're fighting, you realize, what are you fighting for? And you saw they needed something, and now you're going back and you're trying to help, and you're trying to build infrastructure, and then what do you get right there? It's not going to change anything in war, but over a period of time, investing your time and blood, sweat, equity in some place where you've already destroyed lives on both sides under false narratives, you kind of have to come back and reclaim the souls of the people of your own people there, and you have to go back and you have to put blood, sweat, equity into areas around the world that need it. And that's the thing. We can't have tribal type of people living places like that. I mean, not when the whole world has running water and all of these other things. And the number one responsibility that we have to worry about is the air we breathe, the water we drink, and being able to keep each other healthy. And you can't do that being at war at all time. You know, we haven't been, they're like World War I, no, we've been in a war. Since the very first war kicked off, we have been fighting. We've been in one huge war. But when you break it down, they've been battles. Either because of this, because of that, it doesn't matter. It's been disagreements that's caused and flared back up. War has never stopped. War is a machine that never stops running until we stop it. Until we have to say, hey, you know, we're not going to go over here and kill fucking people because false narratives used to hide money that was missing anyways.